Fake it till you make it, the 10K special part 3. Are you ready? Let's go. They got ready around early noon. It surprised Atsumu since the location SakuAtsu had given him was a fair distance away, and he knew that if it could be avoided, the spiker hated being late. This time, however, he seemed to almost purposefully stall. He sighed, observing SakuAtsu as he got increasingly more nervous and on edge. Well, I best get ready so that we can leave whenever. The ace barely acknowledged him and just hummed. He couldn't tell whether he had actually heard him or not, and simply ventured out to find the bathroom, his bag in hand. Atsumu was by no means an expert in style and fashion, but he did take a mild interest in trying various things to wear. For this trip, he had a plan. Every day he'd wear something a little bit more outrageous in the eyes of someone with an old-fashioned mindset. Starting with something basic and classic, but with a modern touch and the potential to become a thirst trap if he had posted a photo on his Instagram. He put on black pants that were made from a light, airy fabric with big but subtle pockets floating just the right amount of loosely around his legs. They got wider toward the bottom, adding a slight flamboyant touch. Nothing too provocative. The trick of this outfit was the sweater. It was a black turtleneck and a very tight fit. It was something SakuAtsu would wear sometimes as well, just that his weren't meant to show as much of his figure as Atsumu's did. The likeness was intentional to present them as a couple from the very start, a milder version of the pajama in a way. To top it all off, he added the kind of accessories he saved for photo shoots and to show off. Flashy earrings that were simple in design but not nearly as subtle as simple rings. And certainly, he would be doomed if he had only one piercing per ear. Nasada grinned to himself as he looked at his reflection. He wore fidget rings on both hands and with a few quick movements added a subtle straight black eyeliner to the final picture. Perfect. He was fairly pleased with himself and grinned from ear to ear, knowing that this was just the beginning. Truth was, Omi was right. Pissing off conservative assholes was one of his favorite hobbies. He probably would have done him the favor even without anything in return, yet he couldn't let him win so easily. Furthermore, he had the feeling that Omi preferred it this way, if their relationship was purely transactional for the time being. Atsumu didn't know how to feel about that. Personally, he thought the deal was perfect. To him, SakuAtsu was a friend, a very attractive one at that, so flirting with him for the sake of annoying his family wouldn't pose a problem at all, but he was worried how SakuAtsu truly felt about this. He bit his lip, chewing on it and forgetting that he had the fidget rings to avoid such behavior. SakuAtsu often felt uncomfortable around others, and Atsumu wasn't exactly known to be easy company. That much was sure. He sighed again, shouldered his bag, and went to see if SakuAtsu was ready to go. The dark eyes zeroed in on him as soon as he set foot into the living room again. His expression shifted from shocked to a scowl that Atsumu couldn't quite read. What, jealous that I look absolutely stunning? He teased him with his usual charm and, as usual, got no decent reply as the other turned away. I'll prepare as well. We can leave in about 15 minutes. Fine by me. He didn't know yet what was about to come or how his family would react. He felt fairly prepared for this, but in all honesty, it felt a bit like he was walking a forest blindfolded, constantly wary about the possibility of walking into a tree. He knew close to nothing about the Spiker, let alone his family. All that he was aware of were their outdated ideas and apparently ignorant and mean-spirited attempts to scare people off. He knew that they were fairly wealthy, and that's it. Sakusa had a sister and a brother. He hadn't said much about them, so Atsumu assumed they either weren't coming or weren't the problem. He knew that Komori would attend, but wasn't sure about his parents. In the end, it was barely enough to guess. Sakusa mentioned his strict upbringing only briefly, but Atsumu had a slight suspicion that as soon as he'd crossed the doorstep, he'd have broken already 10 rules, yet when he asked him about it, Sakusa said not to worry. This was perfect. After all, he wanted them to be bothered and not to earn their respect. He was right, of course. Ami, this is not a house. Sakusa glanced at him from the side, his hands clenched into fists and hidden inside the pockets of his dark coat. His dark eyes were vigilant and cold. The closer they got to the house of his parents, the more his tension grew. He raised an eyebrow at the blonde's sudden outrage. This is a mansion! You told me your parents were wealthy, not rich enough to buy me and my whole family. Sakusa rolled his eyes. You're exaggerating. I'm not. Is this a problem? There was a tinge of nervousness adding to the already wild storm inside him. Would Atsumu back out now? Didn't he want to do this anymore? He gulped. Sakusa didn't know how to feel about it if Atsumu would back out now. He wouldn't blame him. It was probably better if he didn't drag Atsumu down with him. He shouldn't have to endure. A boisterous laugh made Sakusa jump as the blonde suddenly seemed ecstatic. Did he become mad? He looked at him in horror. This is gonna be more interesting than anticipated. Let's go, Ami. He grinned widely. Sakusa was stunned as he observed the mischievous glint in his eyes. He couldn't understand how Atsumu wasn't terrified when he himself was paralyzed by fear. Maybe he truly was mad. Oh, can I touch you? Don't worry, I showered and I'll back away as soon as we're out of sight. He nodded slowly, but couldn't help but flinch when Atsumu's arm wrapped around his. His touch was gentle and careful. He made sure to leave a certain distance between them while looking as close as they could possibly be. The front door opened, revealing a lavish hallway and one of the housekeepers Sakusa had known for years. They were friendly and always made sure to gift him sweets when his parents treated him harshly. Now they looked at him and Atsumu with curiosity in their eyes and a smile spreading on their face. The words of congratulations were already on their lips when the voice of his mother echoed through the room. She rushed over from the living room at the sound of the door, thrilled to see her son. If only this excitement would last when she saw them. But of course, it didn't. Her eyes fell on Atsumu and the smile turned into a scowl. There was so much judgment in her eyes, she didn't need to say a single word to convey how she felt about this. But of course, she wasn't nice enough to grant them her silence. I didn't know you'd bring guests, Kiyomi. Her voice resembled an icy blade, as if she intended to cut the connection between them this instant. She crossed her arms over her chest and looked Atsumu up and down, lingering at the makeup and earrings and pressing her lips tighter together with everything she didn't approve of. Mother, this is Atsumu, my boyfriend. I hope you will welcome him since he's part of the family. Not sure I would say it like that. She was never subtle about her disdain, but the mask dropped incredibly fast today. No more games to pretend. Was it the warning in Saku's voice, an attempt to show him that no, she would not accept him, or even so much as treat him nicely? Or was it Atsumu himself, who admittedly dressed much more provocatively than anyone he had brought home before? Of course! How thoughtless of me. I haven't even introduced myself. As Omi said, I'm Atsumu, but please call me Atsumu. I have a twin and I'm used to it to avoid confusion. So informal. They would hate it. Internally, Sakusa smiled, watching his mother getting increasingly uncomfortable by nothing but Atsumu's presence. She flinched as he addressed him with his typical nickname, and for the first time, Sakusa was willing to admit he really liked it. Anyways, it's so nice to meet ya, Sakusa-san. He laid on the accent heavily and extended a hand which she ignored. Aside from looking at him as though he was a dead rodent the cat had left in front of her feet, she didn't acknowledge him at all. So, how long will your friends be staying, Kiyomi? As long as I. If you have a problem with that, we'll leave this instant. Don't be like that, baby. Once I get to know your family. Then he turned to his mother again. He keeps everything about you such a mystery. I guess he always was like that, wasn't he? She took a deep breath to calm herself before looking at Sakusa with pleading eyes. Does it really have to be like this? I prepared... It does. His eyes narrowed, and he almost wished she'd just sent them away so they could return home and forget about this whole thing. But of course, she wouldn't. The preparations had taken too much time, and she wanted him there. And most importantly, she could not convince him to break up with Atsumu when they left now. Your father will not like this. He'll survive it. She sighed heavily and stepped aside. Fine then. Go inside and get settled. Your friend looks strong. Why doesn't he bring your luggage to your rooms? Room. We only need one. And why make him do it when usually this job is done by the attendants? She was getting flustered and was about to spew some nonsensical arguments at them when Atsumu saw the perfect opportunity to dig his grave just a little deeper. That's no problem, darling. After all, I know how much you love it when I use my muscles. He winked at him, and Sakusa was certain his cheeks had never changed colors from pale white to red so quickly. He almost choked on air, but got a hold of himself just in time. His mother had no such composure and quickly called over an attendant to handle their stuff. "Thanks, Mother." He said it as nonchalantly as possible, while Atsumu feigned sadness at the lost opportunity, but willingly let Sakusa guide him inside and upstairs. The room he led him to was odd, clean and white, almost sterile, with little decor and only the occasional spots of color. "Ami, if you're gonna tell me that this used to be your childhood bedroom, I'm gonna weep. It's sad." The taller looked at him unimpressed, thanking the attendants for making such quick work of their luggage before turning towards Atsumu. "It's not. I have no room in this house anymore. This is just a guest room I use when being forced to spend the night here." Atsumu looked confused as he let himself fall onto the bed. The only bed. Sakusa tried not to think about what that implied. "Then where is your childhood bedroom? Surely you had one. They didn't let you sleep on the floor, did they? Because that'd be—" "Yes, I had one." Atsumu's eyebrows raised in a silent question. "It was clear the day I came out. They disowned me for a week and decided since they didn't have their youngest son anymore, there was no reason to keep my stuff." "It's awful." It was the first time he heard Atsumu speak so quietly, almost softly. He just shrugged his shoulders. It's not like this was a secret, but since he never talked much with anyone, especially not about his family, it could as well have been one. Talking about it with Atsumu now felt different. "I got them back for it. The week they kicked me out, I went couch surfing with my best friend at the time. I slept with him every chance I got, so if at all, they have driven me right into his arms." Atsumu burst out laughing. "That's hilarious. But please tell me he wasn't on it." "He was, after the first time. I didn't want to use him like that. Still, I'm not proud of it. After a while, he asked me for something more serious, and I turned him down. We weren't friends after that anymore." Why was he telling him this? This part certainly felt like it should be a secret, yet he talked so freely when Atsumu was with him, as though the blonde... As though he... what? As though he could trust him? What a jerk! Sakusa rolled his eyes at the setter's childish way of thinking. "He wasn't. It was my fault. We could have been friends for longer if I hadn't opened that door and allowed him to catch feelings." Atsumu stared at him dumbfounded. "And here I thought you were supposed to be the smart one. Ami, you act as though catching feelings worked like a cold and you coughed at him." Sakusa flinched. "Sorry, bad analogy. All I'm saying is that I'd never thought you'd be stupid enough to blame yourself for how someone else feels. You always seem so aloof, so above everyone." Sakusa didn't know what to reply and simply turned away. "Dinner is in a few hours. If you don't mind, let's stay here for now. Keeping up the whole lover's act is gonna be exhausting enough later." Atsumu sighed, but agreed. His eyes straying to the ceiling and staring at something in the distance Sakusa couldn't see. Was he already regretting his decision to come here? The worst hadn't even started. I'll take a quick shower. There's a bathroom connected to this room and another down the hall. I'll take the one down the hall then. He got up swiftly, without Sakusa having to ask him, grabbed the things he needed to shower, a new set of clothes, and a bag filled with various makeup products. He was gonna have fun with this. Thank you all so much for watching till the end. I hope you like this third part already. Oh my god. This one was already a bit more intense. It's gonna get even more angsty towards the middle of the series and end, but I also promise a lot of comfort. As you see, they're slowly getting there, right? If you liked it, consider leaving a like and consider subscribing so you won't miss out on anything in the future. Turn on notifications if you want to be certain that you don't miss anything. And here are my social media if you want to check me out on other platforms. I do additional stories on Wattpad and TikToks because it's fun. Yay! Now I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Check out these other videos and let's go!